joins us now. Jake, it's good to have you on the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Bruce. How are you, man?
Oh, it's great to have you again on the program. And how's your family, first and foremost?
Oh, they're doing great. You know, I got 3 little kids now, 2 boys and a little girl, and actually got another one on the way, another little boy coming. So it's growing, and I'm loving it.
Good for you. I remember when I interviewed you in Winter Haven, you were beaming over the birth of your son, and God bless you. Well, you know, I couldn't have been happier. I had no axe to grind one way or the other last year in the World Series, but I was actually pulling for the Cardinals because of you, and I'm happy that you were able to experience that and get your ring.
I appreciate it, man. It was an unbelievable feeling, not only just to participate in the whole thing, but to have the win and that awesome Game 6, and to be able to look back and say that I was a winning pitcher of one of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest World Series games ever is pretty special.
It's the greatest game I've ever seen. I'm a baseball historian, and I'll argue it's the greatest game I've ever seen. To be one strike away like that, I mean, my goodness. And people that say that baseball's boring, Jake, I don't get them.
Right, neither do I. It was an exciting time for all of us, and it was just a fun experience.
Who would have thought that your ball club would have made it there, though? I mean, during the regular season, then when you got into the playoffs, and, the Cardinals weren't the team to beat. They were not the consensus opinion. That just goes to show, Jake, you get into the postseason, anything can happen.
Well, that was huge for us to get in, because we were playing so poorly about middle of the way, and we had to turn it on, and we did, and we were so probably the hottest team in baseball down the stretch. I think we just rode that out in the playoffs. Once we got in, barely, thanks to the Braves a little bit, but once we got in, we just kind of took over and played really well, and world champion.
And how about Philadelphia? That was some phenomenal baseball too.
Oh, it was huge, because Chris Carpenter stepped up and was the ace that he is, and that Game 5 against Roy Halladay, winning 1-0, was it's super pitcher school, and he stepped up big for us, which is what we needed, and took it from there.
You have now joined. I consider St. Louis. I've been to St. Louis several times, and I consider St. Louis the best baseball market in the country. New Yorkers, Bostonians would argue with me, but when you consider the percentage of the population percentage-wise compared to the other markets, I don't think there's no any question about it. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I agree. They definitely are very super knowledgeable of baseball. They understand it. They come out and they support us, and no matter what the day or what the situation is or how we're playing, they come out there and support just baseball. And it happens to be the Cardinals, and they just love coming to the games, and it makes for a great atmosphere to pitch in front of.
We've had some great teams here in Cleveland, and you were a major part of our 2007 success, and what a great year that was. And I still contend, Jake, had we won against Boston, we would have beat Colorado.
I agree. I messed around with Matt Holliday a little bit because he was on the team, and I keep telling him, it didn't matter who won that series. Us or Boston, we were probably gonna beat you guys anyways. And I messed around with him a little bit like that. But, I agree. We had a great team. We had an unbelievable team. It was just unfortunate we couldn't get the job done.
And there was a buzz, and we were talking nonstop about the Tribe, but you know it from living here for so long. This is a football town. If I wanted to here on the show, I could talk Browns 365 days a year. Well, that's the same in St. Louis with baseball. They could talk Cardinals 365 days a year.
Yeah, no, they love it here. They love baseball here in St. Louis, and it makes it. It really does. It makes it a great atmosphere when you come to the park, and knowing that there's going to be 40,000 strong just about every night, and it makes a lot of fun to pitch.
Now, how did you react to the heat? Because the times I've visited my friends there to play golf for long weekends, it was in July or August, and oh my God, the intensity. You walk out of air conditioning, it's like you're hitting a face with a furnace.
Well, for me, it's not a big deal because I grew up in Georgia, and it's super hot there all the time, and I'm just kind of used to it, and I actually enjoy the sweating aspect of it when I'm pitching, and just being wet, and just I don't have a problem with that at all. So it doesn't bother me at all, and I actually enjoy it.
When you perspire that much, is that good for your sinker?
You know what? I don't know. I can't tell you. I think the biggest part is just make sure my hand stays dry, so I can. It's a sinker such a field pitch that I have to be able to feel it, and my hand can't be that wet. So that's really the only concern.
What was it like for you to make the transition from the American League to the National?
Well, the biggest part is just knowing you got to hit, and it's just a different aspect because not. Obviously, we're as pitchers, there's only a few of us that can hit, so I definitely am not one of those guys. But it's just the physicalness of it, and you got to get out there, and you can't just sit out and just worry about pitching. You got to also be up there and get the job done. We need to get a bunt down or things like that, run the bases. It's just a different type of conditioning, and that's something that it took a few games or a few weeks to get used to. But once I did. It's kind of fun, because there's really no pressure on you one way or another unless you're having to bunt. You're supposed to be able to bunt, but if you're asked to hit, there's really no. They're not really expecting much out of it, so it's kind of fun.
I confess I haven't looked at how you've done at the plate. Tell us.
Well, I haven't done well at all, really. I did. I ran into one, hit a grand slam last year, which was pretty fun. Who would have thought in a million years that I would even, hit a home run, but much less a grand slam. But it was, that was, something that I'll always remember. But I think I got like 3 hits this year, and I don't have too high expectations of myself, but I'm working on it and trying to get better, and you never know what could happen.
Hey, you don't have to do another thing the rest of your career hitting a grand slam, man. Wow, that's amazing. Hey, what was it like for you guys going to spring training knowing that you wouldn't have the big boy Pujols?
Well, it's definitely somebody you can't replace. But we understand the business of baseball and wish them the best out there in Anaheim. But it's one of the things. We still have a good team. We don't have LaRussa, we don't have Pujols, we don't have Dave Duncan. But we looked at it. We still got a good team. We picked up a couple of guys. We signed for Call and signing Carlos Beltran, who's been unbelievable for us. We're struggling a little bit right now, but we had a great April. Struggling a little bit right now, but we feel like we got a really good team. We got a lot of guys hurt, but we're just trying to hang on so everybody gets healthy.
Yeah, I see the injuries you guys have had. Berkman's been hurt for you most of the season, and he comes back, and then he gets hurt right away again. What's the latest with Carpenter in your rotation? Is he due back anytime soon?
Well, I'm not real sure, but I know I think he's just now starting a throwing program, so it's going to take him a little while to get his arm strength back up, and he's been a big loss for us. He's another one of those big names that's on the DL for us right now, and I think hopefully he can get his arm right and get back and give us a little shot in the arm, come out after the All-Star break, and then we can kind of go from there.
Jake, I have the Major League package at home, so when I got off the air the other night, I saw the Santana no-hitter, and that ball Beltran hit the chalk, man. It did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one, but that's the kind of way it goes, man. So the games like that, you need some luck. You need some guys to make great plays. Some calls go your way, some don't, and it just happened to go their way that night. And he pitched a great ball game. It's not like that one hit would have mattered. But as far as making history and all that, it was good to see. And I having faced Santana a good bit, with the Twins and with the Indians, it was it's good to see him do it.
Are you in favor of them with these? I don't know if you've heard much about it, but there's some proposals for more replay, even with the foul lines, putting something that's been used in Europe or England, I guess, with lacrosse, where it automatically signals whether the ball hit the chalk or not. Are you for expanded replay?
To a certain extent, I think it'll be okay. I don't want to get carried away with it, but I think there's certain instances when it would be beneficial. But I mean, like I said, I don't want to get it to the point where it gets kind of crazy, but something like that wouldn't be too bad.
And certainly not balls and strikes. I think we all have to change with the times. I'm old-fashioned, but I've had to accept interleague play. I've had to accept the DH. I was against both of those, but certainly not balls and strikes, Jake. That's the human factor. You pitchers and hitters have got to adjust to the umpires. We only ask that they're consistent once you guys realize how the way they're calling them.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you have to have that human aspect of the game because otherwise, you're throwing robots out there or whatever. I mean, that's not the way it is. That's not the way it should be. So, yeah, I do like the human aspect of those guys out there. I mean, they're trying to do a job too. And like you said, they have their strike zones. They have their their pitches that they call certain ways. So, and it's up to us to figure that out.
I see you're pitching for the Cards on Friday in our opening game of the series. That'll be fun. You'll get over it as soon as, you take the hill, I know, but it is fun to think about it against your own ball club, huh?
Well, yeah, I think I'm not 100% sure on this, but I want to say this is one of the only teams I haven't faced yet is Cleveland. So in my career, so it'll be neat. It'll be neat to face some of those guys that I've played with, and it should be a lot of fun.
Hey, Jake, it's always fun talking to you. It's been too long. Best of luck to you and your family, and certainly the rest of the season with the Cardinals.
Appreciate it, Bruce. I appreciate you having me, man.
All right, Jake Westbrook, one of our favorites when he was a member of the Cleveland Indians. I'll tell you what.